everyone, this is Edouan and today we are back in the studio. Hello producers, hello dog juicers. As you can see, Alaska is also in the studio with me. Hey Alaska, let's make some mastering. She's the best dog juicer ever, you will see in the next video. So today I will show you how to master a track. This way you can learn how I do it and try to apply these methods to your tracks to make them sound better. If you're a mastering juicer, let's go! So today I will use a plugin that I'm always using for my mastering. It's called Ozone. If you don't know about it yet, you can check out the link in the description below. There is a link to download it. For me, it really simplifies the process because you have all the mastering plugin in one single cool plugin. First step, do a little prayer to FL Studio God. And for this, the FL Studio dog will help me. FL Studio God, please, give me inspiration. Help me master this track. I'm a good master juicer. I pray to FL Studio God every day. Let's load the track. It's a track a producer sent to me on my website. I offered him some feedback on his track and now I will do some mastering juicer for him. I will add a reference track. It's Kygo, It Ain't Me. So first step, listen to the track and try to identify what's not so right about the track. So it's a really nice and chill tropical house track. That's weird. I'm mastering a tropical house track. I can hear a few problems in the drop. The bass is not loud enough, the kick is not punchy enough, and overall the track could be compressed a bit more. Also I can hear the bass has a bit too much high end, but I can't do much for this. It clashes a bit with the piano, but let's try to master this track now. So I've loaded Ozone 9. The first thing I like to do is to add an EQ. Why? Simply because I want to get rid of all the frequencies no one can hear and that no one will play on a speaker. So these frequencies are the ones that are below 20 Hz. Even dogs can't hear frequencies below 20 Hz. Or can they? No, they can't. So I will just put a high pass here, a flat one, and like this, very steep one, and I will place it at 20 Hz. That way I'm sure I won't have unnecessary frequencies in the mix. Next, I want to add a low pass at 20 kHz. Okay, first step is done. Nice. Next step, let's fix the dynamics. What I like to do is to add a multiband compressor which allows you to compress individually the bass, the mid-range and the high frequencies and try to get something more punchy. It's very useful and I like to compare it with my original track. I have now loaded the Dynamics plugin and I've added 4 channels. I just clicked on the frequency band here. And now I will play my original track and click the Learn button so that it adjusts all the bands automatically for me. So let's click on Learn. So now it has learned and it has placed my frequency bands at the right spots. So I can solo this one. Now what I like to do is to play every single band on the original reference track and look at how much RMS we have here. That's the average volume. You want to match this volume with your own track. I will play the original track and look at the lower frequency range. As you can see, it's shifting between 15 and 14. So we want to try to get the same result with our own track. So for this, I will just lower the threshold and I will set the auto gain so that it adjusts the gain while I'm compressing. It will increase the volume a little bit and also I will adjust manually a little bit myself. We want to have a ratio between 2 and 3 for mastering. Not too much. Mastering is always something very smooth. So I will lower now the threshold until I get 3-4 of gain reduction. Don't go above. Let's listen to the whole track now. It's already way more powerful, so I'm pretty happy with this. Now let's go to the mid-range here. Let's disable this one and let's listen to the original track. So as you can see, it's between 16 and 17. Let's try to do the same for our original track. So now it's closer to the reference track. Let's listen to the whole track. And you can hear the reverb is really getting louder now. It's pretty cool. Let's listen now to the higher frequency range. So let's do the same as we did with this frequency range. And now let's listen to the whole track. And finally, let's do the same as we did, but with the higher frequency range. So now it already sounds much better. I will disable everything and play it. Of course, the overall volume has increased, so I will try to compensate for this so that you guys can judge what's the difference. Next step, the EQ. For this, I like to do a match EQ first. I will capture my reference track, just play it in the DAW like this and disable all the effects that are before and play the drop of the reference track, press capture, and that's it. So now we got our reference capture, and now let's do the same here. Enable our plugins first. And now I can use the amount knob to match a bit better with my original reference track. So I can use the smoothing parameter to have smoother EQ curve. And as you can see, it increases a little bit the subs and it increases a little bit the high end. So it's always very subtle. Here it's only like 2 decibels. Always be subtle when doing your mastering. Subtle user. I will be using this master rebalance to increase a little bit the punchiness of the drums in the drop. So as you can hear, it's much punchier now. Next up, I want to increase a little bit the stereo of the drop. I want to make this sound a bit more wide. The imager, and I will also add a few frequency bands here and learn it. So now I will make sure that my bass is in mono. That's very important. So you want to put the width to 0. Everything above, let's say 120 should be completely mono, because stereo in the bass can lead to phase issues, and we cannot hear stereo effects very well in the low frequencies. So it's useless to try to make this more wide. Now let's shift to the mid-range, low mid-range. So you can get an idea on how wide is your frequency band by just looking at this, and I will increase slowly this knob. You shouldn't go too far below 0. It means you have phase inversions, and once you play your mix in mono, a lot of clubs have mono sound systems, or on your phone, the sounds that are under phase inversion are just disappearing, or you can get a strange mind shifting effect in your head. So don't go too far below 0. Now let's take care of this higher frequency range. Something I want to adjust here, there is a little resonance. I didn't hear it before, so now I will add an EQ here to remove this weird frequency. That's this weird frequency that's somehow in the vocal, in the reverb, and it has been pushed up by all the effects, and now it appears and we can spot it and remove it. Well, kind of remove it, attenuate it. And finally, the last step, very important, use a limiter. So here I would be using the maximizer. I like to use this one, which reduces pumping and distortion, and use the modern mode. And here I will disable everything and look at my original Kygo track and see how much of RMS we have, and try to lower the threshold of this track until we get to the same loudness level. Loud deucer. So we are at around 5 to 6 decibels RMS. We'll try to do the same here. So now we have a very loud track that matches more or less our reference track. Next step now is to export your track, sign it to Spinnin, and so here is how the track sounded before. And here is how it sounds now. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. That was a pretty quick mastering tutorial. If you want me to explain more in depth some of these aspects, or if you want me to do a longer video about this, I will do it for you. I can also try to do some mastering with only FL Studio plugins. I can try this. I'm open to all the challenges. Let me know in the comments down below what's your favorite technique to master a track. Of course, it's very important that your elements are already sounding good before you do any mastering on your track. You can't do magic, you can't improve your samples just by doing mastering, of course. I will leave the preset of this mastering in the description below, and also a link to download Ozone 9. I highly encourage you to check it out. So that was a very quick tutorial showing you how you can master a track in a few minutes to already get something that sounds much better. But I hope this was a good introduction for you guys to the magical world of mastering. So thanks again to Plugin Boutique for sending me this cool Ozone 9 plugin. Thanks to iZotope for sending me as well this plugin. I really like this new version. So have fun producing, guys. And of course, see you next week in the next video. And of course, don't forget to pray to FL Studio God.